Hola.
Hola, señor.
Hola, ¿cómo estás? Por favor. What does that mean?
Hello. Por favor is please.
What is ¿cómo estás?
How are you?
Hola, ¿cómo estás, señorita? We just got back from Spain.
Yes, we just got back from Spain.
My first international trip.
Yes, it's technically my second. However, my first.
What do you mean technically? It is at least your second.
Yes, but my first one was during my master's program. So we didn't.
Went for 2 weeks.
No. But we didn't venture out. We only ventured out 2 different days for 2 short times.
Is my hair like that?
No.
Let me just say one thing. I flew you home first class.
That was nice.
From a 2-week trip. You didn't expect it.
No, that was a nice surprise.
And when the flight landed, I said, how was the flight? And this is what you said to me. It sucked. And I go, what? It was Virgin Atlantic. And you go, yeah, it came in a half hour early. That flight was so amazing. I didn't want to land.
I was having the best time. The best time. You know, we don't get to sit in first class very often at all. So
I've never sat in Virgin Atlantic first class.
No, but you did sit in a JetBlue first class.
I have sitting in.
Oh my God, I'm so tired. I'm so tired.
As we discussed, Vicky's master's in writing. You've been sitting in. You sitting in.
I'm not sleeping. You know that. I had a really difficult time. So on the flight over, we could not find a flight that didn't fly through the night. So you fly through the night.
Right.
And when you land, it's the morning there. It's 9 a.m. when you land.
Right.
So, but the flight was only, on the way there, it's shorter. So on the way there, it was like 6 hours, 7 hours, 7 hours. But, you know, the lights are fully on. Like the first class, we could peek in and we could see their lights were off immediately because they were fed immediately. The lights were turned off. They had soothing music. And back in the steerage.
We were in economy plus.
Economy plus.
We could look back at the back of the plane and go, you're poorer than us.
Yes. So, but they had the lights full on like it was the middle of the day.
Even if you tried to sleep, like if you nodded off, they come like, hey, you're in economy plus. Wake it up.
So it was very difficult. So by the time they did the beverage service, and then on these flights, you actually get food.
You get food.
But it's a little thing. But after they give you the food, you could doze for a little while because then they go back out again for other drinks. So I think that the lights were only off for about an hour on our flight.
I don't even know. I was awake the whole time.
Yeah.
I slept for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I had a 9-year-old who turned her economy class seat into my and hers. Her part was first class. She had her legs up on me like I was a hassock.
Yeah.
She had a pillow. She was stretched, which I was fine with. I mean, you could do it.
Right. I got to sit with the 19-year-old, so that was a little easier.
She sleeps.
She does. When we had to decide who was sitting with who, I'm like, I'll take Tabby.
But Tabby said something to me that cracked me up. She said, on both flights, she stayed up the whole night before and said, I'm in training for the flight. I go, what? Are you flying the plane? No. I want to be tired enough to sleep. And she went on the plane and she was she literally sat down and went to sleep.
She did. So by the time we got there, you and I hadn't slept.
Right.
Then we landed in Madrid. Then we drove to Salamanca, which is a small city in the middle of Spain where our daughter is studying. And Vinny's friend had gone to Spain earlier, like a year or two ago. And he's like, oh, everyone speaks English. But where he must have stayed around either Madrid or Barcelona.
He stayed in Madrid.
Right. And everyone does speak English. Not everyone, but a good portion of people do speak English in Madrid. In Salamanca, no English. No English at all. Madison has perfected, I am a university student. My Spanish is poor. And she has perfected that line.
I have perfected making Spanish-speaking people understand an amalgam of English, Spanish, and French. Because I was literally saying, por favor, mon ami. I'm like, what
you were making up your own stuff.
I said to someone, I don't speak Spanish, por favor, mon ami. And the person was looking at me like, oh my God. But I really enjoyed this trip Because we did some cool things, which we're going to show you some of the things we did.
Right, we did.
Yeah, we did. So Salamanca, this is the thing I don't like about Spain in general. Here's why I couldn't last in Spain. Because at 2 p.m.,
Yeah.
they shut every shop and take a 2-hour nap.
It was making Vinny crazy. He was like, look at them. Nobody's getting anything done around here. Look at this. This would make me crazy. I'd fire all of you.
I swear to God, I would fire the entire country. The only stores that stayed open were
Starbucks, yeah.
the Burger King and McDonald's.
Right, American
The
stores.
American companies that are like, I could just hear them talking to their Spanish employees, you werk, in a German accent. Because they work. Now,
so it did take us a bit to get used to that breakfast is only served at such and such time, lunch is only at this time, and dinner is only at this time. And dinner is super late.
oh my God.
We were eating every night at like 10:30 at night. It's broad daylight out. And
they're seating you. People are sitting, in other words, we're at 10:30. We're not the last ones eating.
No.
By a long shot.
No.
And I didn't love the food.
Okay, so we owed our daughter Maddie a huge apology when we got there. We do because.
But this is a good test to see if she watches the show. It's the only apology you're getting. Mm-hmm. We love you. You're right. The food, shit.
It was, and I know where I went wrong, and culturally, I know where I went wrong. So I was thinking Spanish food, but I was really thinking Mexican food in my head the whole time. I like Mexican, and yeah, no. But I was thinking rice and beans and chicken fajitas. I don't know why.
Where are your enchiladas, por favor? What the F? How do you say what the fuck?
No.
Because.
But so Madison had called a few days after she hit Spain and she was like crying. There's nothing here for me to eat. There's nothing. I hate it all. I hate the food. And we got a little snippy. We were like, oh, in all of Spain, you can't find anything to eat. Please, Madison, come on. They're known for their food. Blah, 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 blah. They're known for their food. Wow. The Brens don't eat like what they serve. We just don't eat that. We don't eat heavy. We don't like bones in our fish.
Yeah, bones in the chicken.
Yeah.
Bones in fish.
But the other thing was, like, I ordered a caprese salad, which is normally just mozzarella cheese, tomatoes, and lettuce. And it came out, no joke, covered in anchovies. And I was like, ah. And like I picked them all out, but once that taste is in the lettuce, it's in the lettuce. And so I couldn't eat. So we literally survived on, they always had cheese boards, which was nice. So we always ordered a cheese board. I had that and bread. You and Tabby and Cassie had burgers.
The burgers were good.
Yeah, and then Madison.
I didn't eat the bread. I'm still off the bread.
Yeah, still off the bread. And Madison had yogurt all the time.
Listen, I had the coq au vin one night.
Yeah.
Which I thought was a French dish. It sounds like it's a French dish.
I don't know.
I had coq au vin one night, and I'm like, well, I've never had a chance to have that. I didn't care for that. The breakfasts were messed up. I ordered the one salad with chicken on it.
Yeah.
But I said polo. And I was careful. I thought I spoke Spanish because I said Marco Polo. I said it. I said Marco Polo. And they brought out tuna.
Yes.
Because I think you have to say poje.
I don't even know. We honestly, we wouldn't have gotten anywhere or done anything without Tabby. Our middle daughter, Tabby, speaks pretty good Spanish. So we were literally, for everything, like with directions, we're like, Tabby, come here. Tabby, come here. Tabby, what does this mean? Tabby, order. And so Tabby was our Spanish ambassador all week.
Here's the trip started with us landing, and we had to drive the 2 hours or 2.5 hours. And I'm driving a car. I'm exhausted. And I'm in another country. I can't read the sign language, so the signs. And so naturally, you would assume that the 3 occupants with me would stay awake, try and help me. But they went to sleep immediately in the car.
I was so tired. I couldn't keep my eyes open.
And then every now and again, Vicki would open her eyes and go, are you okay? And I go, well, I'm really tired. And she said, all right, well, you'll do all right. And she'd go back to sleep.
Now, well, what I do is I pop awake. I pop awake because I get startled and I'm always worried. I'm like, you all right? And he'll be like, I'm fine. And I go right back to sleep.
So I stopped to get a to-go coffee.
Yeah.
Which they don't do.
They don't do it.
I stopped at a roadside and they're like, well, here's your coffee. And I'm like, to go. You have no idea what I'm saying. And I'm looking, there's no to-go cups. You have to take your little coffee with a little, and sit.
Yeah.
And it's not coffee, it's espresso.
Espresso, that's all they have.
Espresso. But anyway, it was great. So that time we stayed at a bed and breakfast.
Well, the first 2 nights, I wanted us to feel, well, first we had to go to Salamanca because that's where our daughter was. But I wanted us to stay in whatever is authentic to people that are living in Salamanca. So,
as opposed to the people that are dead in Salamanca.
No, I didn't want to stay in an Americanized hotel.
And Salamanca didn't have one.
They didn't have one. Right. So we stayed in Airbnb. It was crazy inexpensive, but had no air conditioning and only 2 fans. And so the first night was so incredibly hot. And it's funny because Vinny and I talked about this. Growing up, we didn't have central air.
No.
Like, I knew one person that had central air growing up, and you'd walk into their house and it would just be like cool, and you'd be like, wow.
Well, you had what we had.
Yes.
You had, your parents' room had
the parents' room had the air conditioning.
The little window air conditioner, and the rest of the house would be 107 degrees. We had a fan in the attic that sucked the hot air out of the house and sucked fresh August hot air into the house.
Yeah.
So you could exchange your stale 100-degree air for brand new 100-degree air. And my parents' room had the air conditioner, and they would go in there and they'd lock it. You'd hear like 9 locks, click, 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 click. And sometimes, you could go up to the bedroom door and just lay at the crack. Mm-hmm. Just kind of breathe some cold air. You had that.
Well, my mom had the air conditioner in her room, and my mom would let us sleep on the floor though sometimes. And then we had the fans that literally were like tick tick tick.
Yeah, the oscillating.
Tick 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 tick.
Yeah,
try to get the air real quick, and then it's on its way back. So we had that. So it wasn't.
Did you ever get the fan where it's supposed to do that, and then at some point in the night, something goes wrong with the mechanism, and the fan just does this for 12 hours while you're sweating in bed? It just cools a far corner, and you're so hot, you can't get up and change it, and the fan's just cooling something in the corner. Or else you try and switch the fan, and then the fan would fall over. Yeah. I had a fan that always got stuck. The oscillator got stuck. And then it was a heavy metal fan. And then at some point in the night, just from that constant jerking, it would fall over and unplug itself.
Right.
And you wake up in the morning, you're like, oh my God, just covered in sweat. We had to do that in Salamanca, but it didn't bother me. I slept.
Well, so the gentleman that rented us the Airbnb was so sweet. He said, do you guys need anything? And I said, do you have another fan by any chance, please? Just another fan. So
I'll tell you what I need. Because the one thing we have to talk about is I'm the only guy in the group.
Right.
And the amount of drama that the 40, it's unbelievable the number of fights. Now I have to say, Tabby stays out of a lot of them. A lot of them.
So are you saying it's just Maddie and Cassie?
No, and Tabby's in there.
Yeah.
Tabby gets in there. But what Tabby does, this is what Tabby's so goddamn, she's intuitive to what's going on. So Tabby will see Maddie and Cassie, 22 and 9-year-old, starting. And Tabby wants to jump in there. She wants to jump in. But what she did a number of times is she just looked at me and she saw that I was ready to disappear. I was ready to get into a cab and send a ransom note back to the hotel and disappear. And so then what she would do is go, the old man's about to snap. I'm staying out of it. And she stayed out a couple times. I actually said to my wife, what we should do is take a trip, just you and I.
Yes.
And we should leave them at home with no food and no communication. So they have to bond to survive.
Right. Right. Brand Survival Island is what we'll call it.
Well, let me say this. Let me ask you something. You think that 3 sisters 1,000 years ago in a cave, you think that one of the sisters ever looked at the other sister when a saber-toothed tiger was about to eat them and said, is that my lion skin you're wearing? No, they didn't have time for that. They were trying to protect themselves from the saber-toothed tiger. No girl 1,000 years ago said, I'm annoyed you're wearing my shit.
You don't know what they said 1,000 years ago?
Huh?
Yeah, I'm sure. This is not.
You think women
new.
argued even then?
Yeah.
Okay. But I think if we leave the kids alone for 5 days with no credit cards and no phones, just leave them in the house, just basic shelter, we would come back to 3 highly functioning individuals that wouldn't fight while we were in Spain.
Yeah, no. But I mean, it was
It was a great trip. Let me say this in case the girls watch. Yeah. I love vacationing with you guys because it is just a little bickering.
It is a little bickering. And it was funny because every night we would have wine or drinks, not
champagne,
and we would sit around and talk and sing, and we really had just an absolutely magical time. We really did. Like, despite whatever normal sister bickering. And listen, some of it is that we're also vacationing with a 9-year-old for adult vacations. So the 9-year-old, she likes to do things like this to the 22-year-old. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you.
While we're looking at a 12th century castle, and she's going, I'm not touching you. This shouldn't bother you. I'm allowed to do it. This shouldn't bother you, Mom. Mom, I'm not doing anything. Trying to look at a castle. I'm not touching you.
Yeah, it really was. And so I'd have to pull the older girls aside and say, listen, she's 9. We're not at Disney World. We're in cathedrals looking at all the architect. We're looking at art. She's 9. So her idea of fun is not necessarily their idea of fun.
And let me say this. Let me take ownership of one thing.
Yeah.
I taught her that.
Well,
like that's my forte.
Well, honestly, too.
Because I will touch the kids just to annoy them.
You will. And at one point, we were walking through the streets. Her and Maddie had already bickered a bunch of times. And Cassie was literally just patting me on the back like this to a beat of a song. But because I'm a mom, it doesn't bother me. And I'm like, and just walking through, getting,
Yeah, I saw that, actually. I was walking behind that.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me.
Quite funny.
But it bothers a 22-year-old and a 19-year-old. But after we moved from Salamanca and we stayed in a castle, like a real castle.
12th century castle.
Yes.
We stayed in the coolest rooms possible.
Yeah.
Big, like Vicki and I had like the King's Terrace.
Yeah.
Which was amazing.
It was so cool.
And not for a ton of money.
No, it wasn't. It really was.
It was reasonable.
It was very reasonable. And so we stayed in a castle for 2 nights, and the kids loved that.
It was great.
They had so much fun.
Secret passageways, parapets. We'll show you pictures.
Yeah.
The pictures will pop up. We'll just talk about it. There was a parapet that I found my way to.
Right.
And then I introduced to everybody. This is where they'd go up and they'd stand over a moat. There's a moat around the whole castle.
Right.
Which is just incredible because you're seeing what you only heard about in cartoons. I mean,
right.
I've been to Spain before and I've been to China. But only at Epcot.
Right.
And they don't do the real thing.
Experience.
There was a legit moat.
Yes.
40 feet moat. It's not filled with water anymore.
Right. Now there's actually a pool in part of it.
Yeah, they built a pool at the bottom of one part of the boat. There's no elevators.
No elevators. So you had to drag your suitcases all the way up. And again, no air conditioning.
No air conditioning. Now, our original room was in the basement. We got there ice cold, beautiful, a little musty.
It was too musty, and I had asthma, so we couldn't stay.
We moved to the top, and Vicki walked in and goes, I want this room.
Yeah.
And they had it, so they gave it to us. Now, I will say this. I just lost my train of thought.
I don't know where you're going with that. But it was a lot of fun. So what?
I knew what I would say.
Yeah.
I knew what I would say. First of all, there were bats flying around at night in the castle.
That was so cool.
So cool. Did you see bats?
And you also had to sleep with your windows open. There was no, every place that we stayed, you had to sleep with your windows open because it was just so hot.
Yeah.
So I don't even think I told you this. The first night we were there, again, I had a really difficult time adjusting my sleep schedule, so I didn't sleep that much for the last week. So in the middle of the night, we're laying there, and we had to have not only the windows open, and there's no screens. Like, there's no screens on any of the windows. We had the door to the terrace open, and the terrace was huge.
Gigantic.
And it's literally like, we'll show you, it's like the top of the castle is where our terrace was. I heard noises and it reminded me like of a dog. So I was wondering what was up there, what animal was outside, because it was that noise, like you hear, and it was not a bird.
Well, they say that castle's haunted.
Wow, that's ridiculous.
Well, they say, well, I don't know if it's ridiculous. I mean, I would think of it.
It was an animal. It could have been a big rat.
My favorite part of the whole castle is that the doorways were built for people that were not tall.
Oh, yes. I want to say that. So Tabby said, so we have a friend, Jamie. He's 6 foot, whatever. And Tabby said, there's no way. We'll show you that picture right now. There's no way that Jamie could be here because Tabby literally filled the whole doorway.
I filled the doorway, which is, I felt great.
Yeah.
I felt, because I've never filled the doorway. And I mean, I literally just cleared the damn thing. And then the other cool thing about the castle, you could stay, there's a courtyard in the castle. And we stayed up one night.
Yeah.
Playing, not drunk.
No, we were tipsy.
Tipsy champagne karaoke.
Yeah.
And while we're doing it, we're singing songs, and the whole castle's asleep, and the brands are singing all kinds of songs, having fun. And the night host comes out, and she goes, "I'm leaving now."
Yes.
And then she said this to me. It made my whole trip. She goes, "You are that famous comedian, famous American comedian." I'm telling you, my head blew up.
Yeah.
And then the next morning, I woke up and I said, "Did they put her up to that?"
And we did not.
Because that was the night before Father's Day.
God is my witness. We did not. We did not. So,
I'm big in Salamanca.
You're big in Salamanca. Well, actually, that was in the village of Topaz.
Yeah, I'm huge there.
And so then we went to another village called Herta
and Horseback Road.
And Horseback Road. I did not go because I'm definitely allergic to horses. And when I did it in Siesta Key, that was when we were just in the water, so there was no dander, and there's a hospital down the street. We were in the middle of nowhere with no hospital and no medical treatment, so I said I better not go. And
it was fun.
Yeah, you guys had a good time. Maddie did not have a good time.
Well, she had a little issue with her hip. It was a little bit.
And she didn't. Her horse was bad, but
her horse was bad. My horse was good because I controlled my horse.
Yeah,
I'm a natural. Now, while we were horseback riding. This is when Vicki got a little pissy. So Vicki didn't go horseback riding. Now, we rented a van.
A big Sprinter van.
A big Mercedes Sprinter van. 7-passenger van. Beautiful van. When we rented it, there was damage to the outside of the car.
Already.
And so we took note of the damage to the outside of the car. By the way, great van.
Yeah, great van.
Great van. And I drove the van 98% of the time. Vicki drove the van 2% of the time, 1% of which was when we were horseback riding. You took a ride.
I did. I took a ride into the little village of Hirta, and so they don't have any pools.
Wait. Let me just don't tell anything until I tell my part.
Go ahead.
So Vicki comes back an hour and a half later to pick us up, and I'm walking to the van, and I go, "Oh my God, someone hit the van. There's huge damage."
Well, Tabby said something to me first.
Well, whatever. And Vicki goes, no, that was there. And what we see on the van is embedded chunks of wood.
I didn't know that the tree was going to leave any marks behind.
So can you put the picture up of the van? Now, look, if you don't mind, for just a second. This is after I returned the van. And there's no more tree attached to it because I pulled the tree out. And I returned the van. But this is what Vicki said was already there. And we're like, that wasn't there. And as soon as we said that wasn't there, you go, oh, yeah, I hit a little tree.
It was a skinny tree. And you know what? Vinny was just going on and on and on.
No, wait a minute. Was I mad?
No, but you couldn't understand how I hit a tree, blah, blah, blah.
No.
But let me just tell you. First of all, I hit the tree because of him. Because
I was on a horse. I was on a horse
because
3 miles away. I caused this accident.
He had left an iced coffee in the center console.
I just broke it.
And it was sweating because it was so hot. And his hearing aids were in the cup holder.
Why were they in the cup holder?
Where else would I put the hearing aids?
Okay, so you took my hearing aids to protect them from getting wet.
There was nowhere else to put them.
The van seats 7.
There was
gigantic.
I didn't want to lose them. They're very expensive. And if I lost, it was a quality of life thing for you. If I lost his hearing aids or damaged them in any way, it'd be a problem. And the other thing with the hearing aids.
Wait, a problem in that I wouldn't be able to hear. I wouldn't be mad.
Yeah, no. He would not be able to hear, and he would have had a miserable time. So, but the hearing aids cannot sit by one another. So one had to be in the cup holder, one had to be in the little alcove up top.
Or anywhere else in the 7-passenger van that fits 4 gigantic suitcases.
So the coffee was sweating, and I said to myself, that could get on to the hearing aid. So I was parked down by this little river. So everyone in this little village, they ride their bikes and walk to the village. And they swim in this village like a beach all day.
Let's get to the accident.
So there was a garbage can, and there was a motorhome parked here and a motorhome parked here. So I pulled in next to the first motorhome where the garbage was. But then I realized I was a hair too close to the motorhome pulling out. So I had to cut the wheel. I didn't see the tree because it was in my blind spot.
What does this have to do with the hearing aids?
Because you're welcome. I threw away the iced coffee.
I don't understand something. Okay, so because you were essentially too lazy to walk to a garbage can.
No, I drove.
Yeah, so he tried to squeeze in. I'm not getting off my can to throw this away.
No, because also I had walked around the river and...
All while the hearing aids were sitting next to the coffee.
I realized the coffee was sweating when I got back into the car.
Okay, all right, understood. Now...
And then I drove the car to the said garbage can because that was the only garbage can I could find. Which, by the way, it also grossed me out that at the river there was no porta potties. So all those people were just going to the bathroom.
Listen to all the flack she's throwing up to get you off the story. By the way, I may have hit a tree, but there was no porta potty by the river. It's all just mental flack you're throwing out there to get people off your tail. So now listen to me. Here's the part that I couldn't get over.
Okay. I really did think when I hit the tree, I did think I just hit the mirror. I didn't realize I hit the whole side of the car.
And anyone that knows us knows that you hit things or people with mirrors.
I don't hit people.
You hit people.
No, I don't.
You did.
But I was very annoyed with Vinny because he kept circling back.
No, wait.
Saying, I don't understand.
No.
I don't understand.
Wait, let me explain why I circle back.
And it's so annoying.
First of all, I don't give a shit. At this point in our marriage, Vicki has been in somewhere in the vicinity of 20 to 30 fender benders, right?
Give or take.
40. Okay.
No.
Vicki has done more to prop up the auto body industry in New Jersey than any motocross, Okay, now, here's the part that I kept...
It's always when I'm like parking or something, when I'm doing like 1 mile an hour, just because... Things are in my blind spots.
Okay, and that's what I couldn't get.
So, first of all, when I'm driving, I'm always hyper aware if there's any children or pets. So I always make sure there's no children or pets.
So let me get this straight. You're backing up. You go, not a kid. I can't that.
No. What I actually do is I get out of the car, I walk around, and I look for children and pets.
You did all that?
I did.
And you hit the tree anyway?
I don't look for trees.
You look. How?
I look for children and pets. I always look for children and pets. That's why, like, a lot of times, like when we go to a soccer game, I park far away because there's always kids running amok after the game, and I'm always afraid. So I always look for children and pets. Who looks for trees? That's all I have to say.
Every other driver.
Who looks for trees?
But you said it was your blind spot.
It was. This is how it happened. So it was a skinny little tray. I mean, very skinny tray. And I was parked like this, and I was backing up, and I realized the motorhome was like right here.
You saw the motorhome.
It was big, Vinny. Duh. And so when I didn't see the tree, it was in my blind spot. See, it's right here.
By the driver window.
And no. It wasn't initially. So then I went like this, and I guess what happened was I went too close like that.
You guess?
And then
you hit it.
And then I had
were definitely too close.
But then I had to scrape it back to get the car forward again. So that's what
Okay,
happened.
here's how Vicky's blind spot works. If it's not if it's not right here, like right now, I can't see Vicky, can't see her, can't see her, can't see her, can't see her. There she is. I see Vicky. Your blind spot cracked me up, and I was just laughing because I know I have to return the van. Now this is what you don't know that happened. So we were going to buy the insurance that would cover everything. I only bought the liability insurance because I said I'm going to be the one driving. I don't hit shit. Now, Vicky drove the car 2% of the time, and 1% of that 2%, she hit a tree.
So see how he loves to belabor a point? He's already done that.
What?
Go on. You love to belabor a point.
50% of the points that you drove, you hit shit. Now, here's the thing that cracks me up. I take the van back. We're rushing through the airport. Mm-hmm. No one rushes in Spain.
No.
There's no fast service. Fast food and it doesn't exist. I'm trying to return the van, and the guy goes, are you going to rush? And he's saying it like in that broken English. Right. And I'm saying in broken Spanish, yes, I'm in a rush. And
by broken Spanish, he means he's saying, sí, yes, I'm in a rush.
No, yes.
Because you don't know any other words besides sí.
I said El Rusho. I'm in an El Rusho. El Rusho. And I park the van. Yeah. And the guy does everything, and he's just about to give me the thing. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, this is beautiful. Mm-hmm. This damage seemed to be in his blind spot as well. Yeah. And just as I was about to do that, he looks at it and he goes, oh. And he starts rambling in Spanish. And he's asking me, I could tell, did I do this damage? Mm-hmm. And he's saying, how could this happen? He was flabbergasted.
He was not flabbergasted.
Yes, he was. He was looking at me. He's going, in Spanish, looking at it. And I said, no, not me. My wife. And he went just like, I'm not kidding. He went, see. He understood immediately. And he let me go. Now, I know we're going to get a bill. But I don't care. It just cracks me up. Because even this Spanish guy knew women can't drive.
No, it was for the benefit of Vinny's hearing aids. That's really what it was for. But no, we did. We had a great time. We did stay in Madrid for a day. But Madrid is very much like New York City. I
got to tell you the funny thing about it. So this is, I know we're going a little long today. Vicky bought me for Father's Day a tour of the King's Palace.
The Royal Palace.
The Royal Palace. And it is amazing.
Right.
It is amazing. Now, let me tell you why. One of the many reasons I love my wife and my kids so much. They know that this is in my wheelhouse. I wanna do the whole thing. This is gonna be the greatest trip ever because I'm gonna learn the history of Spain. And we have a great tour guide.
Yeah, we do.
Who you called Ricky.
No, I said Enrique. Whatever. Go on.
You said, hey, Ricky.
No, go on.
You literally started singing Steely Dan.
I did
Ricky,
not.
So anyway, so what happened is, it's gonna be a terrible trip for you, a terrible day.
Well, not a terrible day, but I don't read every plaque. I don't stop to literally read every single written word.
And I do.
Yeah.
I love it. Mm-hmm. Now, Enrique
is
a very knowledgeable guy.
Yes.
Studied art history.
Yeah.
And now he's a tour guide. And he is taking us on this incredible journey.
Right.
Now, he knows we have a 9-year-old with us.
Right.
So the first thing he did that cracked me up is he explained that, first of all, he was very touchy. Like, he knew I was interested, so he focused on me a lot. And when he would talk to me, he would literally go, do you see this here? Mm-hmm. He literally, do you see? Am I exaggerating?
No, the kids kept saying, I think he's going to make out with Dad.
I so close. And he's explaining the castle, but he was very touchy. He goes, and you see. And then he would tap. He goes, so you see, you understand.
Well, I love it. The best was, though, is when we were first really having interaction with him, he would get closer to you like this.
Yes.
And you would take a step back, but that didn't deter him. He would just take a step forward.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But I wouldn't step back because I said, when in Spain, do what the Spanish do. And I'm telling you, the number of times he would come to me and he would go, you understand? And I mean,
yeah. He was very passionate.
He was very passionate. And so.
But then he was like quizzing the kids.
Oh, it was so funny.
So we wanted, at one point I text Maddie because he was like, if we were just standing there like looking while he was talking to Vinny, he would turn and be like, what is that? What do you think that represents? What does this mean? And it was literally like you were in a classroom and you're like, I don't know.
It was so funny. Maddie, literally, he walked a couple steps away. Maddie goes, he keeps asking me what we're looking at. I'm like, well, what are we paying you for? I don't know what we're looking at. You're supposed to tell me what we're looking at. But he did. It was like a pop quiz.
It was. And I'm texting the kids going, how can we say, just talk to Dad? This is his present. We just want to stand here.
It was fascinating. And so now, I didn't know this, but prior to a certain date, I forget the date, the number 4 on the clock was not a Roman numeral. It was 4 I's.
Right.
I. And then at some point, it became IV.
Right.
And 6 became VI. So he's showing us a clock that has 4 I's. And this is in front of my 9-year-old. I know you may have to adjust the camera to get this. I'm not sure. But I have to stand up just for a second. Okay. So can you still hear me okay? So he's explaining. And he goes, so if you ever buy a clock and you think it's an antique clock and he tells you it's before, whatever the date was, before 1300, and that clock has an IV, well, then you know you're getting screwed.
Yes. Yes. Thankfully, she wasn't watching and doesn't know anything.
We were howling.
Yeah.
And he was like, you were getting screwed. And he's talking to my 2 daughters, my wife, me, and my 9-year-old. So we just kind of laugh. And then the best. I got a lot of the quizzes.
Yeah, you did.
Because I got into the groove. See, he's a famous painting. It's a painting of a man on his knee presenting a globe, a round sphere, which is blue, to a woman. And he goes, what do you think this is? So I look at it and I go, that's Columbus, Christopher Columbus, giving the New World to Queen Isabella.
Right.
And he goes, you are right. Mm-hmm. He goes, because Columbus, he discovered America and he gave the New World to Queen Isabella as a gift to Spain. So I go, well, was Columbus Italian or Spanish? And he goes, well, there's much disagreement on this. He goes, some people say he's Italian, but what I know, Christopher Columbus went around the world asking for money for this journey, and Isabella gave him the money. So when he discovered the New World, obviously he gave the New World to Spain. It is Spain's. So I go, oh, because he went there first. He discovered America. He was the first person in America. I go, well, there are other people. No, I'm just absolutely wiped out. No, we were the first people there. And it made me laugh so hard. It also made me think, young Americans hate on the U.S. for Columbus and what Columbus did to the Indians.
Right.
And I don't want to hear any bunch of emails about people telling me I'm being disrespectful to indigenous tribes. Not about that. It's about this. It wasn't even our fault. It was Spain.
Right.
And if you ask the Spaniards, they'll tell you that. But what a great day. It was a great day. Mm-hmm. And then we went that night to the rooftop bar.
Yeah.
And had mojitos. And Maddie had to go back to her classes. And she joined us for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then she had to go back. But it was a great Father's Day. What a great day.
It was. It was a really great trip. We had a really, really good time.
There was a girl shadowing us the entire time.
Well, yeah. So I had said to Tabby, look at this girl. Because, I had paid for a private tour. But so we had one tour guide with just our family. And he took us around. And everywhere we went, I could see this girl with us, this young girl. And I said to Tabby, this is so annoying because she's just like going on our tour with us and everywhere we go. And it's funny, I look back through pictures and she was in a lot of the pictures.
Every picture. She's just kind of hanging by our tour guide. He starts explaining. He was brilliant.
Yeah, he was brilliant.
He knew everything. And he knew all the people there.
Right.
So we got into things faster and so on and so forth. And so we're just kind of doing our thing. And she was, and I saw it too. I'm like, well, this girl is getting a free tour.
Then I had said that to Tabby, and I actually felt bad about it afterwards because Tabby, I was taking a picture of Tabby and Cassie, and Maddie had scooted ahead because she was like, I have to go to the bathroom. And in Spain, it's very different from America. So in America, let's say something closes at 4. Well, it closes at 4, and Americans, you wander around. That really means like 4:30. They're not letting anybody else in at 4, but in Spain, if they say it closes at 4, they're shooing everybody out by 3:45. So they had said to Maddie, if you have to use the bathroom, you have to go now because the bathroom closes at 3:45. So it was just the 3 of us there. And she had come up and she spoke perfect English and said, "Do you want me to take a picture of all of you?" And I said, "Oh, yeah, yeah." And she was very lovely. And I said, "Where are you from?" And she was from California. And I realized why she was hanging out with us, because then she proceeded to tell us that she has been touring around by herself for close to 2 months. First, she graduated college. 12 hours later, she was on a plane to South America. She went to the rainforest, did all these things down there, then flew to Europe and is going all over Europe all by herself. By herself.
Her name is Corey?
I don't
No, I get Callie. Whatever.
Yeah.
But she's a nice young lady.
Very nice young lady. And she, she sat and talked to us, but it's crazy what she was doing. She was going to, literally every country in Europe she was hitting, and all the major cities she was hitting, all by herself.
She wanted to hang out with us.
Listen, if you're touring around for 2 months by yourself,
and she didn't speak any of the languages.
No, but she had her whole, she had everything mapped out, so she knew exactly what she was doing, and she said it was very difficult to communicate in South America in the rainforest.
This is we maybe break this into two.
Yeah.
We put a new video up.
Yes, I love the new videos.
You got to go watch the video.
Yeah.
We got out of Instagram jail.
Right.
Put up a really funny video.
Yes.
With our good friend Vishnu Vaka.
Vishnu.
Which we'll be shooting more of. Mm-hmm. And go to Vinnie_brand, follow, share the Instagram post, because they're starting to take off, and they're fun to do.
Yeah, they are.
Super fun to do.
Yeah, that was a good time.
And we thank you for tuning in. And I hope we entertained you with enough pictures and whatnot. We love you. We'll see you next Tuesday.
Yep.
Next Tuesday it is. We will be doing our show from Talercios.
Good time.
And you'll see us from there. Thanks so much, everybody. Loved all.
Bye.